Hello, McGill students. My name is Lara Franko, and I'm the Education Career Advisor. So I work with the Faculty of Education, and I'm here to give you some information about the 2024 Education Career Fair, answer some FAQs, and give you some tips on how to best prepare. So, what are we going to cover in this mini info session? We're going to talk about the fair that's happening on Wednesday, February 7th. I'm going to answer 7 frequently asked questions about the fair. Going to talk about how to prepare for the fair so that you put your best foot forward. We're going to review some resources, and that'll be it. Short and sweet. So, first and foremost, I'd like to let you know when the fair is happening. So it's Wednesday, February 7th from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. in the ballroom, which is on the 3rd floor of the University Center. We also like to call it the SMU building, which is located at 3480 McTavish Street in Montreal. So right on campus, not too far from the Ed building. What's happening at the fair? So there will be over 50 employers from across Canada, including over 10 Quebec school boards, both from the English and French sectors. There'll be independent schools as well as alternative careers. So the first frequently asked question that we get from students is the career fair just for graduating U4 B.Ed students? No. We encourage all students from all years to come. You can even invite your friends from other programs or other faculties at McGill. There will be school boards there, as well as summer camps, tutoring services, and more career opportunities for you to explore as somebody who's a student in any year in the Bachelor of Education or other programs. Second frequently asked question, do you have to register for the fair? Nope. The career fair is a walk-in event. You don't need to register to attend as a student. However, please have your McGill ID ready to get access to the fair. Third question we usually get, do I have to be there the entire time, the whole 4 hours from 12 to 4? Not at all. You can enter and exit the event as you please. You can come at 12, talk to a couple people, go to class, come back at 3 o'clock, talk to a couple more people. The choice is really yours, how long you want to spend at this event. Question 4, where is the fair? So again, it's on the 3rd floor of the ballroom in the McGill University Center. So just a short walk, about 4 minutes walk from the education building, and it's all downhill, so it's a super easy walk to get to. The 5th frequently asked question that we usually get is, what can I expect as an attendee? So when you show up, what's going to happen? You're going to gather information by asking questions, and the exhibitors will be really happy at their booths, and they're going to be ready to provide answers to your questions. They may also ask to look at your CV, just to ask you a couple questions as well about your experience. The 6th frequently asked question that we usually get, what else is happening that afternoon? So that afternoon, there will be 5 local school boards that will be presenting group info sessions throughout the afternoon at different times in room 202. So room 202 is on the 2nd floor, but it's in the same building as the fair to make it super convenient for you. The 7th frequently asked question is, what should I wear? What I recommend is to dress for success. So you can wear something that you would typically wear to an interview. Basically, you want to try and make a good first impression, because who knows, maybe one of them will be your future employer. What I recommend is you dress a little bit more elevated than you would for a typical day of class, or like I said, wear something that you would to a job interview. All right, those were all the frequently asked questions. Now we're going to go over the goals of the career fair and what things you can expect to prepare for the fair. So, again, as I mentioned previously during the FAQs, it's an opportunity to meet and interact with exhibitors, employers from all over the place, the local employers, national and international, all in one day to get all the information you need. It's a great way to practice and develop your job search and networking skills. As I mentioned, you can gather important information, so things like hiring and application processes. This looks different for every school board, for every school, regardless of if it's in Quebec or across Canada. So you really want to understand what the hiring process looks like. You may want to ask them what their areas of hiring need are. So are they hiring, secondary science teachers right now? Or should you look elsewhere for a career opportunity? You may also want to ask them about their language requirements, especially schools and school boards in Quebec may have certain requirements when it comes to French proficiency. You want to figure out what those are, if you need to take any French tests, that kind of thing. And then finally, you can get a lot of information at the group info sessions for the local school boards. So these are school boards that are typically very popular. Their tables are very busy in the exhibition hall. So they're going to be presenting some info sessions for students as well. So starting off at 12:15 will be the Riverside School Board. Then at 1:15, the English Montreal School Board. At 2:15, Lester B. Pearson School Board. 3:15, Sir Wilfrid Laurier School Board. And then 4:15, New Frontier School Board. So like I mentioned earlier, these will all happen in room 202, which is on the second floor, just one floor down from where the ballroom is with all of the exhibitors. How can you prepare for the career fair? So I recommend you review this checklist and you make sure you've done everything here so that you can set yourself up for success. First and foremost, really important to prepare your CV, print off a couple copies so that you can hand those out at the fair. I also recommend, if you're really not sure where you want to apply to or who you want to have conversations with, you're not going to really have time to talk to all 50 tables. So you might want to target and research the employers attending the fair and come up with your top 10 or top 20 that you really want to talk to. I also recommend you prepare a list of questions to ask employers. Things like, what supports do you have for new teachers? Or how do I start the application process? Things like that. Really important to do some self-reflection and understand who you are as an educator or as a candidate, right? So it's important to understand your skills, how to communicate those skills to employers, understand what your values are as an educator, understand what your strengths are in a teaching sphere, and also understand what barriers or what challenges you might face starting off a career. I recommend you prepare a 30-second introduction, which is a short little introduction that you can use to introduce yourself to new employers in a professional manner. You can say things like who you are, what you're interested in, what your experience is, and perhaps finish off with a question like, how can I get started with the process for substitute teaching? You can also bring something to write on. I really recommend this to take any notes down or to ask people their email addresses so you can follow up with more questions later. Or you can use your notebook to take notes during the info sessions. Finally, as I mentioned previously, it's important to dress for success, to put yourself out there and to make sure that you're looking as good as you can for your new employers. So here, one of your lovely student representatives has put together this list of exhibitors that you can browse through and see by region or by job type what employers are going to be exhibiting at the fair on February 7th. I have some tips for during the career fair as well. So you've taken the time to prepare, you've used that checklist. At the fair itself, again, I highly recommend you introduce yourself in a clear and professional manner. Be prepared to answer and ask questions. There's a lot of different employers that are going to be there. A lot of them are really eager to recruit McGill students, so they may ask you some questions as well, kind of like a mini interview before they invite you for a full-length interview at a later date. I also recommend you keep your open mind and explore your options. What I mean by this is, you might go in with the intention of just talking to 2 people and leaving, but again, it's an opportunity to practice those networking skills. So as you're entering this space, you might feel a bit nervous. You might not feel super confident to walk up to the table that you're planning on going to talk to. So why don't you take a little lap around the room, see who else is there, and practice your introduction and practice your questions at another table that piques your interest before going to approach the employer that is your #1 pick. I recommend you find out who you're talking to and ask for their contact information so that you can follow up after in case you have any more questions. And then finally, really important, be patient. There may be other students that are waiting to talk to the same person as you are. You're all in the same boat. Just be kind and respectful to your peers and wait your turn. So you've prepared for the fair, you've gone to the fair, now you have a bit of homework after the fair. So I highly recommend you follow up with the employers you liked and connected with a thank you email. In this email, you can refer to something that you talked about, so something you learned about their organization or something you connected with, just to help that email stand out from the pile. You can also follow up on next steps. So if they asked you to email them and give your availability for interview times the following week, then you definitely want to include that information in this email. And then finally, always, always, always attach an electronic copy of your CV and cover letter so they can file that away in their system and they have a better access of who you are again and understanding, your skills and great attributes that you have as an educator. If you're applying to lots of different places, I highly recommend you develop some type of tracking system to keep track of all the names of the schoolers or school boards you're talking to, who the main contact is, what their email address is, what their phone number is, when was the last time you reached out to them, have you sent them your CV, have you been booked for an interview, that kind of thing. This will help you feel a lot more organized and a lot less stressed out. And then finally, be proactive and take initiative. So if you feel like you made a good connection with someone at the fair and you're not hearing back from them, it is up to you, not up to anyone else, up to you to be proactive, to email them, to follow up on those next steps. All right, so here are some of the resources that you can access to help get you prepared for the fair. So McGill CAPS, which is the career planning service, has these how-to guides. So there's how to write a CV, how to write a cover letter, how to find jobs. The list goes on, but there's a specific one for how to navigate career fairs. So that's the one I would recommend you take a look at before the fair, in addition to the how to write a CV one, just to make sure your CV is up to par with McGill standards. Another recommendation is after the fair, you may go to My Future, which is the online job board exclusive for McGill students and alumni, and take a peek at what jobs are posted in the field of education. All right, so that's the end of this quick little info session. I hope you learned something about how to prepare for the fair. You can always contact me. Again, my name is Lara and I'm the Education Career Advisor. You can always contact me by email at career.education@mcgill.ca. You can follow the ISA Instagram to stay in touch about everything career fair related and other job opportunities. And when I'm in the education building, you can find me in the internship student affairs office, room 243.